Hey everyone, Jason here, digital marketing consultant, and in this sales funnel guide, you're going to learn how to build a fully functional sales funnel using 100% free software, no 14 or 30-day trials required. So timestamps below, along with some other helpful videos to help you with your sales copywriting, your conversion tracking, and of course, actually running some traffic. So in this particular tutorial, we're going to be going through creating this funnel here, creating a squeeze page, putting together a lead magnet, sending a couple of sales emails that hopefully drives traffic to your sales page and ultimately your checkout. So to do most of this, we're actually going to be using a free tool called MailerLite. I'll leave an affiliate link in the description. If you do decide to upgrade your account, we receive a small commission as a way to support this channel. And then when we get to the checkout, I'll go through 3 different options you have for free shopping carts. So when it comes to building your funnel, there are 3 main phases. The first is attract, where we take strangers and prospects and turn them into email subscribers. Phase number 2 is going to be convert, where we hopefully turn those email subscribers into customers and clients. And then finally, number 3 is going to be transform. So this is going to be our funnel structure. Obviously, we're going to skip the traffic part and jump straight into phase number 1, which is going to be putting together your squeeze page, your lead magnet, and of course, 5 to 7 emails that drives traffic to your sales page or your paid offer. So out of all of the steps we're going to go through, the lead magnet is going to be the most important when you're getting started, because after all, without a good lead magnet, you're not going to have any email subscribers, and without email subscribers, there's no one to email and sell your products or services to. So when it comes to your lead magnet, what's most important is it's actually valuable. You've probably entered your name and email on a landing page or squeeze page before and gotten back something that was less than desirable, if not just complete garbage. So you want to make sure that you don't do that to your new email subscribers. Now, when it comes to different types of lead magnets, it can be an Excel tool, it could be a video, it could be a PDF, a diagram, an audio. Here, I'm going to go through rapid fire 4 examples of a PDF. I highly recommend you check out the cards and the description for a video that walks you through some other lead magnet ideas you could try. So the first one we have here is an audit, and this is simply a PDF checklist showing someone where they're getting things wrong and where they're getting things right. The next one we have is a template. This is essentially just a worksheet to help someone go through a process. And then the last 2 we have is either a resource guide where you have your recommended resources, or a report where you've done a bunch of research for your ideal customer, something like the top 5 dividend stocks to buy now, or something to that effect. So again, I'll link up in the cards in the description to a video that takes a much deeper dive on this. But what's most important is you don't skimp on this, because without a good lead magnet, this whole process is not going to work. Now, once we have an idea of what our lead magnet is, we can go to the next step, which is going to be building our squeeze page. And we're going to be using MailerLite to do this. And all a squeeze page is a simple page on your site with a clear call to action. Enter your name and email to get the lead magnet. That's as complex as this page needs to be. So this is the page we're actually going to be putting together inside of MailerLite in a moment. And just to show you that the pages like this can actually convert, here's a little screenshot from our own MailerLite account showing you some of the conversion rates we've gotten driving traffic directly from YouTube videos just like this one to squeeze pages just like the one you're about to put together. And I really like showing these numbers, not because they're great, but because they also show that you don't have to be really complicated with your squeeze pages. And the lead magnet is really the reason that we have good conversion rates like this. It's not the page design. And apart from a lead magnet, the only other thing you're going to need to get numbers like this is, of course, a headline for your squeeze page. So you can always use the timestamp to come back to this. I'm going to briefly go over these formulas. Link in the description to a playlist that goes through a lot more headline formulas than this. But essentially, you want to communicate that your lead magnet is going to help your ideal customer or prospect achieve something without doing something hard or overcoming a roadblock. So for example here, we have how to grow a channel without getting lots of views. Or number 4, how to rank your videos even if you have a small channel. So the key with these is you're talking about something that your ideal customer would want to achieve, and then acknowledging a problem or a roadblock they think is going to prevent them from getting that result. And that's all you need to do with your headline. So enough strategy, let's go ahead and start building our squeeze page. So once you've applied and gotten approved for your MailerLite account, you'll go ahead and navigate to sites inside of your account and click on create landing page. I'll go through what you can do for free and what you might have to pay for later, but for the most part, you're going to be able to do everything we're going through for free. So we'll go ahead and click on create landing page. Of course, we're going to give it a name. I just like to name it whatever the lead magnet is to keep things simple. Go ahead and save and continue. And then we're actually going to add a group. So what you want to do is every time someone enters their contact information on the squeeze page, you want to add them to a group so you know who to send the lead magnet to. And then you can also properly set up your automation. So I'm going to go ahead and name the group the exact same thing I named the landing page to keep things simple. Go ahead and select it. And going back to our diagram here, we've created our first rule. So this isn't super important right now, but just keep it in the back of your mind that we've created our first rule for our email automation. So let's go back over to MailerLite. We'll go ahead and save and continue. Now you have a bunch of different templates here. They have a lot of options, but I like to start from scratch. So we're just going to choose the first one and then delete everything, right? So we'll wait for it to load a little bit. And then once it does, we're immediately going to take away everything. So we'll come up here to actions, remove content, and then we'll go ahead and type in remove. Yes, we want to remove, and now we have a nice blank slate. So we only need a couple of elements to put together our squeeze page. So we'll get our headline element, we're going to add some text, and then a sign up form, of course, and then finally some more text. And then we'll come over here to settings. Now I won't get too much into this because there's a lot you can play with your own settings, but I just want to point out some of the most common ones you're probably going to want to play with before you start adding all your content. Now the advantage of doing it here is this is going to apply to all of the elements we just added, and it's going to apply to your confirmation page as well. So you'll save yourself quite a bit of time, right? So the first thing we want to do is probably choose our font. I'm just going to come down here and choose Open Sans because I like that particular font. And then the background, you'll notice right now half the page is white and half of it is this weird cream color. So we'll just go ahead and change the background so that the entire page is the same color. Come down to heading. We want our headings to be in the middle. So we'll click on the heading element, set it to the middle, and then we're going to go ahead and change the color, and I'll change it to blue. So I'll change it to blue there, and then we'll go ahead and save and done. We'll come down to our button, and the first thing we want to do is change our button color because red means stop. We don't want people to not subscribe or not download now. We want them to subscribe and download now. So let's go ahead and change that button color to something like orange here, and then we can also modify the hover color. But first, the only way you can change the size of the button is by changing the size of the text. So I'm actually going to jump this text up to 24. So now you can see the button is nice and big and easy to read. We'll come over here to hover and we'll change the color to green because green means go, right? So now when someone hovers over the button, it'll be green, and when they're not, it'll go back to orange. And we'll go ahead and click on save. And with that, we have all of our settings good to go. So now it's time to start adding some elements. So the first element we're going to add is some sort of picture or graphical representation of our lead magnet. So I'll go ahead and click to edit here, and then I will immediately remove the headline because I don't need that. And I'm also going to remove this text here because I also don't need that. If we wanted to do some bullet points or have some extra copy, then we could go ahead and use those elements. But for a squeeze page, as you saw with those conversion rates, it really doesn't matter, right? Sometimes less is more. And then we're going to go ahead and change the subscribe text to something like access now, download now, or get access, instant access, whatever makes the most sense for your lead magnet, or watch now if it's a video or on-demand training. And then in this particular instance, I would recommend collecting the name as well, not only because I think it'll help with your email marketing, but also because it's the only way to change how the form looks on the page. So we'll come over here to form, we'll add new, add name, we'll put it at the top, and now it's actually stacked because this is actually silly enough that, this is free software after all. It's the only way to get it nice and stacked, and I think it just looks better aesthetically. So we'll go ahead and ask for the name, no harm in doing that. And now we need an image to represent our lead magnet. So we'll go ahead and click on images. You can upload almost as many images as you need. I'll go ahead and select one that I already have here. And just like that, we're about 50% done putting together our squeeze page. I hope you see this is not rocket science. It's very, very simple. Pages like this really do work. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and go to the bottom line of text. And this is going to be where you want to put your disclaimer text. Now, a big asterisk here, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant, so I'm not telling you what you should or should not do here. I'm just politely recommending that you check out your advertiser's policies to figure out what kind of disclaimers and privacy policy, income disclaimer, terms of service, whatever it may be, kind of links you need to have here. So that is very important. What's also important is that you don't copy other people's. I see this done a lot, and that's copyright infringement, and that can really get you in trouble. So I think I'm at least allowed to say that. So anyway, none of that was legal advice, just a friendly recommendation, right? So let's go ahead and come to our subheadline. So this is going to be a small line of text to just reinforce what the headline is. And I'm going to go to my standard, get the blueprint, so you can make 2020 or 2025 your breakout year. I pretty much default to this all the time. So then we need to go to our settings because it's really small and hard to read. So we're going to take that font size up, and then we're also going to take away some of the spacing so there's not so much awkward spacing. You can just click and drag as much as you want to play with this spacing. So we're ready for our final element, which is going to be our headline. So I'll go ahead and click to edit the headline, and I'll copy and paste in our headline. So again, I'll link up in the cards in the description to a playlist that goes through a lot of different copywriting formulas. But with that, we're done with our squeeze page. So now what we need to do, of course, is modify the page that someone sees right after they enter their name and email. Now, this is not your sales page. This is just a confirmation page, and it does not have its own URL. So if you understand conversion tracking, then you know that that's kind of a nightmare, but that's okay. You tackle that when you're doing your conversion tracking. So we'll go over to the success page. We'll go ahead and actions again, remove content, and then type in remove, and now we have a nice blank page. Here, we only need one element, one column. So we'll just go ahead and drop in that column, and then we'll edit it and immediately get the picture of our lead magnet again. So we'll go ahead and select the picture of our lead magnet. We want people to be confident that they are in fact going to get what they just received. And then we'll go ahead and remove heading 2. And for heading number 1, we'll just tell them, check your email. And I'm just using a envelope emoji here. So nothing special, right? It's just an emoji. And then for our text here, we're just gonna say, check your inbox from, and then put in whatever your URL or domain is going to be, the domain, not the URL. Put in the domain that your email is going to be sent from, and hey, why not another friendly emoji? Now, what's very important here is the reason that we're doing this is we want people to actually open their email. We need the service, whoever their service provider is, to not tag us as spam, right? So we need the email service provider to actually know that people who are receiving our emails actually want them opened. You might see other sales funnels that have some sort of sales message here. That's not what you want to do when you're first getting started. You need people to open your emails because that's how you're going to make future sales. So don't try and get a couple bucks here and sacrifice everybody else who's not ready to buy, right? Okay, I'll get off that soapbox, right? So here, let's go ahead, we'll align center, and we'll just bring up the text size a little bit. And then for the button, we'll just delete it because we don't need a button here, right? And that is our confirmation page. So this, again, this is the page that people will see right after they've entered their name and email. So the last thing we need to do is make sure our page is fully responsive. So we'll come over here to settings and then click adjust for screen size. And then we're completely done with our confirmation page. So we'll go back over to our landing page and go ahead and click on save and update. So it'll take a while to load. You'll just get used to that using MailerLite. And we have a couple of final options before we move on from our squeeze page step. Now, if you do decide to upgrade for $10 a month, you'll have some advanced functionality with your landing pages and squeeze pages, and of course sales pages, as we'll get to later. You'll be able to use your own custom domain. Now here, this domain will work, so you don't have to pay in order to have your landing page, your squeeze page, and your sales page work. And what I do recommend though doing is updating your favicon. So that's the little icon that shows up in a browser tab. So we'll go ahead and choose file. I just have a favicon already uploaded here. They'll give you the dimensions for what your logo or whatever icon you want to use needs to be. Now you do need to put in your analytics and tracking code. If you're not advanced, you can go ahead and just put in your UA code and your Facebook Pixel ID here, and you'll be good to go. You do have to do this for every single page that you make. It is a little bit annoying, but just remember not to skip this step because data lost is data that's lost. You're never going to be able to collect it again. So you might as well start collecting data now. If you want to get a little more advanced, you'd use Google Tag Manager. I'll link up in the description to a video that goes through some advanced tracking and how to use Google Tag Manager. If you don't know what Tag Manager is, that's okay. Just ignore the last 15 seconds of what I just said. So we'll go ahead and click on save and continue. And with that, we have our squeeze page. It's done. So we can copy this URL, open up a new tab, and this is what our done squeeze page looks like. Again, I already showed you some of our conversion rates. You don't have to be more complicated than this. Please, please, please don't spend more time than what we just did. This is all we need to get your sales funnel up and running. So we can go back over to MailerLite and you'll be able to make any sort of changes or updates to your squeeze page from this page inside of MailerLite. So definitely don't feel like whatever you just made is locked in, set in stone, right? You can always change it. So let's go back over to our diagram here. You see that we made our squeeze page and we've set up our first rule. So now we're ready for the next step, which is actually to start sending some emails. And this is going to be your rapport sequence. So we need to deliver your lead magnet, and then we also need to begin building rapport with your new email subscribers, and of course seeding the value of whatever your paid product or service is. So all we need to do with the rapport sequence is build trust. That's it. Someone just gave you their contact information. They're really skeptical. All we need to do is be empathetic, build trust, build rapport. That's why it's called rapport sequence, right? Pretty simple. Now, all you need for this particular sequence is anywhere from 5 to 7 emails, absolute max. You should not be going over 7 emails. If you're going over 7 emails, that something's not working in your sequence, right? So the first one, we're going to deliver their blueprint. Then the next 2, we're going to share stories of our own success or our previous clients or customers' success, or share a case study if you don't have any of those. So essentially, you're using email to tell a story as to why the lead magnet is going to be helpful to them and how you understand the problems that they're facing. Then the next 2 emails, you're going to be a little more explicit in that, hey, I have some sort of product or service that I think you're going to find value in. And so here, you don't just want to list off, it does this, it does this, it does that, and it's better than all the other ones you have, right? You want to continue to use a story style format as if you're just having a cup of coffee with your ideal customer, and you're telling them, hey, you know what? It's really great when you purchase this product or service because you're going to be able to do XYZ and you're going to able to enjoy ABC benefits. So these should always be thinking of it as a story format and talking to a real person. Again, I'll link up in the description to a video that takes a much deeper dive on the copywriting behind this simple 5 email sequence. And because you're doing things for free, you should not go over 5 or 7. If you want to add 2 more for the heck of it, okay, that's fine. But all of this should be extremely soft selling because you're doing this for free and you don't want to burn your emails right after you got them. So here what we're gonna do is we're going to go back into MailerLite and we're going to set up an automated sequence that will go out. You'll be able to do this with the free plan. Unlike some other free plans, you can send automated emails with theirs. That's one of the reasons I like MailerLite's free plan compared to ConvertKit and MailChimp, who don't have those options anymore. And then we'll get into the rapport sequence. So let's go jump back into MailerLite. We're gonna click on automations here, create new workflow. We'll name our workflow. I'm going to name it the exact same thing I named the landing page and the group because it just makes things easier. And then we'll go ahead and when a subscriber joins a group, this is going to be how we trigger this particular automation. And of course, we're going to select the group that we created when we put together our squeeze page. So someone enters their name and email on the squeeze page, this process will start. So we'll go ahead and click on save. There is our trigger. So the first thing we want to do, of course, is send them the lead magnet, right? They need to get their free stuff. So we'll go ahead and click the plus button. Email, we'll give our email a quick name. You do need to give your email a name in order to save it, but you don't have to design the email. So I'm going to go design it through the email once, and then just assume you'll know how to do it for all the other ones, right? Just to save us a little bit of time, because this has already been a really long tutorial. So let's go ahead and click on design email. We're going to choose the legacy rich text editor. I think text-based emails are the best way to go. So we'll go ahead and just paste in our email text. It doesn't have to be super complicated. Remember, you're just talking to a real person. You don't need to be salesy. There's no copywriting tricks. You're just talking to a normal person, right? And then of course you can change the font styles if you want. I recommend increasing the font size a little bit to around 15 or 16 because 12 is kind of hard to read. And then we can go ahead and click on done editing. So this email right here needs to deliver the lead magnet. If you don't know where to post your lead magnet, you can simply upload it to Google Drive, create a public share link, and that's what you link to here. That's as complicated as your lead magnet delivery needs to be. So we'll go ahead and click on done editing here. We'll go to our action, and that is our first action. So now we need to set up a delay to start our rapport sequence. So we're just going through our diagram here. Now it's time. We're going to go through this process 5 to 6 times. I can do math in my head, right? There we go. So we'll go ahead and choose the plus button again, delay 1 day because we don't want to send all 5 emails on 1 day. That would be pretty extreme. So we'll go ahead and select 1 day, save, and now we have our day delay, and now we're going to create an email. So this is going to be the first email in our rapport sequence. We'll go ahead and give it just some sort of subject, and then we'll go ahead and click on save. You can go through the same process that we just went through for the first email in designing your email. So I'm not going to do that over and over again. And with that, you have your first rapport email, and you're going to do this 4 to 6, 4. Oh my gosh, there's a total of 7 and you've done 2. So you're gonna do this no more than 5 more times. You're gonna do this no more than 5 times, right? We have 2 emails and you can do this up to 5 more times. Ideally, you just need to do this 3 more times and you're done, right? So going back to our diagram here, what we've done so far, we've created our squeeze page. We've created that initial rule that says anyone who enters their name and email on the squeeze page, put them in this group. And then we just created the automation that says when they're added to that group, we're gonna send out our email that has our lead magnet in it. And then we just finished building our rapport sequence. Now, if this seems a little overcomplicated for you, just go ahead and make sure you drop a comment in the comment section below because I read and reply to every single one. You always have the timestamps to come and skip throughout this video. Now, I'm gonna get a little advanced here, but this is going to save you a lot of headache in the future. And that is adding a broadcast segmentation. So essentially what we want to do is after someone's gone through the sequence, we want to put them on our broadcast list. So this is where you just send 3 to 5 emails a week to everyone on your email list, right? So we need to move them to that list once they're done with this, because if they bought or they didn't buy, doesn't really matter. They're done with the sequence is over. Let's move them off to our general list. So we'll go back over to MailerLite. You've gone through the rapport sequence at least 3 to 5 more times, and then we'll click on this plus button. We'll add a delay, add another 1 day delay here, and then we're going to add a rule. So we'll click plus again, and this time we're going to go to action. So we'll click on action, select the action, copy to group, and the group we're going to copy it to is going to be our general broadcast group. So if you don't have one, you can go and create one now and just call this general broadcast or all subscribers, right? So for us, it's just Aspire Entrepreneur. And so now when I click save, they're going to go through this sequence, and then at the end of it, irrespective of what they purchased, what they didn't purchase, they're going to be dropped into our main email list now, and they'll get the broadcast emails. That way, we're not sending broadcast emails while they're going through our lead magnet sequence and getting way too many emails, right? So that's just a quick little advanced thing you can do to begin to set yourself up for success when you really start to get advanced with your automation. So let's go back to our diagram now. That is phase number 1. We completed it, so if you made it this far, go ahead and hit that like button. You've made it further than 80% of the other people who normally watch these tutorials, right? It's just watch time statistics for you. So let's go on to phase number 2, convert. So we've got them on our email list. We've sent them some emails. Well, now we need to put together our sales page and our checkout so we can actually sell our product or service and hopefully collect some credit card information. So with your sales page, I'm not going to get into what you should or should not be selling, but I highly recommend with your first funnel, especially if you're doing this on a really tight budget, start with $7 to $97. Yes, you see other products and services there. Maybe you see some people in your niche who are selling $3,000 mastermind packages or $1,000 courses. It takes a lot of work to get there, so I highly recommend just starting with the $7 to $97 range. You can always raise the price in the future. It's a lot better to raise your prices than have to lower them, because then you just piss off your current customers who had to pay more money for some reason, right? So go ahead, start somewhere in this price point. I'll leave that up to you. And if you're not quite sure how to do your sales copywriting, yes, there are a lot of great YouTube videos out there and free trainings, but this $13 book will give you everything, literally everything you need to write your sales letter. Whether you're going to be wanting to write more sales emails, you want to write a written sales letter, or even do a video sales letter, everything that you need to know to get started and essentially just be an amateur copywriter is in this book by Dan Kennedy. He's one of the original copywriters, and quite frankly, a lot of content is just repurposed from books like this one. So this is definitely gonna be your best friend when it comes to learning copywriting, which is gonna be very important. So I digress, get off that soapbox. Let's go ahead and build our sales page. So we'll go back to our landing pages, and we're actually going to create a new page. We're just not gonna drive traffic to it unless it's from our email. So we'll go ahead and click on Create Landing Page, and this time I'm gonna name it the exact same thing I've been naming everything skipping, I'll just click dash sales page. And that way it's really easy for me to remember what goes where. Because as cool as naming conventions are, if you don't remember all your naming conventions, then they're kind of useless. I've just seen one too many client accounts where things are all over the place. You're like, I don't know what's what, right? So we'll go ahead and click on save and continue. Now here, I would actually recommend skipping because we don't need to collect contact information, but we're gonna get this message that says you have to choose one, right? Even though we're not putting a contact form. So just go ahead and select the same group that you had for your squeeze page, and then you'll be able to move forward creating your landing page. Save and continue. Again, we're gonna skip all the templates, just go to the first one again, and of course, after it loads, you're getting used to this, right? If you're doing it, you're getting used to this by now. We'll go ahead and go actions, remove content, remove, and then we're going to add a headline. And this time we're going to add a little bit of text again. And instead of a opt-in form, we're going to go opt for a video and then of course a button. And this is all the stuff. These are all the elements you need for your sales page. So let's go ahead and start organizing and setting this up. So we'll go into settings again. We're going to want to change our font. We're going to want to change our heading and of course our button. So I'll quickly go through this because hopefully you are already up to speed from building your squeeze page. So font, we'll go ahead and change it to Open Sans again. For the headline, we're gonna put it centered. We're gonna change the text to blue again, and then we're going to go over to our button here and we're going to change the color because we don't want red. Red means stop, right? We're going to change our button color to green and then the text size to 24, and then for the hover, we're going to change it to a lighter form of green. So there's just a slight green tinge when someone hovers over it, and then we'll go ahead and click on save. The background, again, they have that awkward little gray area at the bottom, so we'll just go ahead and take that off, put it back to white, and then we'll be save, good to go. So now let's add the elements we need for our sales page. Now I'm gonna assume you have a video sales letter. If you don't, you can go through this exact same process. You'll just have text and pictures. It's completely possible to do with MailerLite. You can tell I'm getting excited, talking over myself here. So let's go ahead and edit our button. So for our button, we probably want something like download now, enroll now, get started now. I'm just gonna say enroll now, and this URL is going to link to your shopping cart. So this is going to be Teachable, Thinkific, or if you go with a paid or Wave accounting, or if you go with a paid version, it's gonna be something like ThriveCart or SamCart. Don't worry, you don't have to use a paid solution, just suggesting when you decide to upgrade in the future. But we'll come back to this because this is gonna be where we're gonna come back and put our shopping cart URL. So for now, we're good to go. PayPal and Wave will also work here. So next we need to set up our video. So we'll go ahead and click to edit our video. You can use YouTube, Vimeo, or Wistia. Obviously, if you're doing it for free, it's just going to be a YouTube URL. So you'll go ahead and drop that URL in here and click on save. So now we're ready for our subheadline. And with your subheadline, this is completely optional. I'm going to italicize it first. And then with your subheadline, this is, again, completely optional. So it can either be the tried and true, make whatever year it is your breakout year. It could be presented by, and then your name or whoever's doing the presentation, because people who are watching it, we're not important to the people watching our sales stuff, right? They're going to forget our names. They're going to forget who we are. Or you can just have your unique selling proposition of your product, service, or whatever your lead magnet or the unique selling proposition of the video is. Sorry, losing my train of thought here. It's been a long one. So then finally, let's go ahead and take some spacing down so it's not so spaced out. And then we'll go to the final part, which is our headline. For your headline, I recommend keeping it very, very bland if you even use one, and just have it the name of the webinar. Like it's an awesome masterclass, or weight loss training, or the 10 recipes every mom should know, or how to grow a YouTube channel fast. Something to that effect. You definitely don't want the headline to be really long or distracting from whatever the sales presentation is. And then we're going to go ahead and change the spacing here a little bit. I'm actually going to add spacing at the top and remove some spacing from the bottom so the video isn't at the top of the page. And then we can go ahead and click save and update because that's all we need for our sales page. So we'll go ahead and click save and update. It'll load again because we got used to that. Again, if you decide to upgrade, you can change your URL. Otherwise, just leave the URL the way it is. Select our favicon here and then go ahead and click on Analytics and Custom Code. Now, if you're still watching, I know you're actually serious about building your funnel, which means you have all of the technology power and know-how, and most of all, motivation and commitment to your own success, and I don't say that sarcastically, to use Google Tag Manager. So please, once you're done with this video, check out the playlist link in the description to how to get started and set up with Google Tag Manager. It's going to be so much better than just pasting in your analytics and your Facebook pixel code here. So I'll get off that soapbox. Let's go ahead, save and continue, and we can copy our link and see our completed sales page. So there's only one more thing we need to do before we can move on to the shopping cart. So if we go back over to MailerLite, number one, you want to save this sales page URL someplace so you don't have to come back every time you need the link. And then number two, this is the link you're going to use in your rapport building emails. So emails number 2 through 5, those are the one, this is the link you want to put in your PS section or throughout your email when you're trying to sell your product or service. So with that, let's go back to our diagram. We have completed our sales page. So now we're ready for the second to last step of the process, which is your shopping cart. Now, the good news is there's not a whole lot to do with your shopping cart, especially if you're going to use one of these free plans. It's really, really simple. And all your shopping cart needs to do is communicate trust. You see trust as a trend here. And then illustrate security, because someone's a little freaked out right now. They're about to take out their credit card. So make sure trust and security is just flowing off the page with whatever shopping cart software you decide to use. Now, the good news is it's going to be a piece of cake if you follow one of these recommendations. So I'm going to go through all of them, and then I'll go through specifically putting together one that's going to be the easiest. So if you're selling services, you can use PayPal or something called Wave Accounting. I'll actually go through Wave Accounting in a moment. For membership sites, Teachable and Thinkific both offer free plans where you can actually create sales pages and you can create checkouts for free using their software. So if you're doing any sort of courses or memberships, that's the way to go. Of course, if you're doing physical products, I don't really have a good free version for you to use. You probably want to actually spend a little bit of money on something like Shopify or Samcart. And if you want to get advanced, let's say 6 months or 12 months down the road, you're actually starting to make a little bit of money and you want to upgrade, well then Samcart or Thrivecart might be a good solution for you. In this particular instance, we're staying free, so I'm going to go with Wave Accounting. Again, if you're doing any sort of membership, online courses, Teachable or Thinkific has you covered. You can finish off this process for free using their software. So for Wave, you'd go to wave.com or waveapps.com. I guess they own both domains. They'll just redirect you to the right place. And we'll go ahead and click sign up. You go through their sign up process. And then once you're in your dashboard, you'll click on sales and click on checkouts. Now, if you don't see checkouts in your dashboard, you can reach out to support and ask if you can get it enabled. They might ask for some more financial information or personal information just to make sure that you're a real person and not a scammer. And then also it's not available in all countries. It's been quite inconsistent where it seems to work and doesn't work. So it might not work in your country, but that's okay because some of those other solutions might work in your country. So we'll go ahead and click on create checkout here. And all we need to do is give our product or service a name. This is all visible on the checkout page, by the way. Nothing's hidden like it is in MailerLite. And then we'll go ahead and give it a price. Now, this is a one-time fee. This is not automatic billing, right? So people can save their credit card information with you, but you're not going to be able to automatically bill people. So if you want some sort of membership thing, go with Teachable or Thinkific. Then you can turn on phone number if you're doing any sort of consulting services. And then of course, you're going to have your success message. So this success message, you can go ahead and drop a link if you want someone to watch a video or give them directions as to what to do next. Now, the disadvantage of this free checkout is it's not going to really integrate with anything else. So you need to make sure that whatever you say in this message makes it clear that you're going to reach out and contact them, or you give some sort of direct link with instructions on what to do next. And so with that, you're ready to go ahead and save and turn on, and then we can copy the URL to clipboard and we can see what our checkout looks like. And this is what your checkout page is going to look like if you decide to go with Wave Apps and of course Wave Accounting. And the big advantage here is it's free. You don't have to pay anything for this, and the transaction fee that they charge is pretty reasonable given standard rates in the industry. So going back to our diagram here, we've created our checkout page. So the only last step we need to do with our shopping cart part is, of course, add the shopping cart link to our sales page. So let's jump back into, of course, MailerLite. So we'll go ahead and copy this from Wave or whatever checkout solution that you're using, and then we'll go over to MailerLite. We'll go back to our sales page. We'll click on Edit, and then we'll click on Edit the Enroll Now button, and then we'll go ahead and paste in our Wave accounting checkout URL, and we will save an update and we'll be good to go. So going back to our diagram here, that does it for phase number 2. So if you're still watching, go ahead and destroy that like button. You are an absolute champion. You know you're committed to your success. So now let's go through the final step of the process, which is going to be pretty self-explanatory at this point, but I still wanted to include it, and that is phase number 3, transform, where you actually deliver your product or your service to your customers or clients. Now, when it comes to product or service delivery, this should be seen as arguably the second most important part of the process. I know this seems a little backwards, but I really think the lead magnet is going to be your number one, because that is what is going to enable you to power this entire thing. Because with a terrible lead magnet, none of this works. And after you have a great lead magnet, having a great product or service is your next greatest weapon, because people who are happy customers now are going to be your best customers later. And you don't have to sell as hard when you already have someone who's given you money and been very happy with the results that they've received. So when it comes to actually delivering your products or services, of course, if you're doing any sort of coaching or consulting, I highly recommend using something like Google Drive, because it's free and you can create private drives to share between you and your clients, and then using something like Hangouts or Zoom. Now, Hangouts, you can have multiple people for free, unlike Zoom where you have that 40-minute limit. Now, obviously, if you're doing a membership site, Teachable, Thinkific. If you're shipping physical products, I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm not an expert in that realm by any means. And finally, we have some other solutions. If you want to build your membership site on WordPress for whatever reason, you want to deal with that headache, then the best solution is actually a paid one, and that's going to be Wishlist Member. So I know it doesn't qualify under our free funnel build, but Teachable and Thinkific do. I think Wishlist Member is a much better option compared to some of the other popular ones like SendOwl, MemberPress, and MemberMouse. And then if you do want to run webinars or you want to do some sort of monthly mastermind, then I would actually recommend upgrading to something like GetResponse for $15 to $20 a month. So you can do everything we've done in this tutorial and be able to run live webinars to about 30 to 50 people. Again, those last two are paid solutions, but I just wanted to include them just so you know what your options are when you decide to upgrade. And with that, you have your fully functional sales funnel 100% done, all ready to go. So if you made it this far, please go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dive, click by click marketing guides just like this one. Sincerely hope you got a lot of value out of this video and you're ready to start putting together your sales funnels. And most importantly, you can see that it's not as complicated as it may seem. I know this was a really long tutorial, but once you get this down, you'll see how amazingly simple it is to just pump out a lot of these different types of funnels. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe for more detailed marketing videos just like this one. And until the next, keep building the business you love.